Imagine for a moment that you are looking at a small object that looks like a piece of dark shining glass. It is beautiful and smooth, but it is actually a human brain that was transformed by the heat of a volcanic eruption thousands of years ago. Most of us would look at that and feel a sense of confusion or even a little bit of fear because it does not fit into our normal understanding of the world. We are taught from a very young age that we should have the answers. We go to school to learn facts and we take tests to prove that we know things. When we walk into a room, we want to be the person who can explain what is happening. But there is a secret power in standing before something like a glass brain and simply saying that you do not know what it is. This moment of not knowing is actually the beginning of a much deeper journey. It is the spark that starts a fire of curiosity. We live in a world that is very loud and very fast. If you look at your phone or watch the news, you will see people who are very sure of themselves. They have strong opinions about everything from politics to science, and they share these opinions immediately. We are rewarded for being experts and we are punished for being wrong. If you make a mistake on the internet, people might try to cancel you or tell you that you are not smart enough to speak. This creates a huge amount of pressure on all of us. We feel like we have to hide our confusion. We feel like we have to pretend we understand things even when we are totally lost. This is a very stressful way to live. It makes us rigid and it makes us afraid to try new things. We start to stay inside our own little boxes of expertise. We only talk about what we studied in school or what we do for work. We forget how to be students of the world. But what if we decided to change the goal? What if the goal was not to be right but to be curious? Think about the last time you felt truly alive and excited. It probably was not when you were repeating a fact you already knew. It was likely when you discovered something new that blew your mind. Maybe you were traveling and you saw a building that looked impossible, or you watched a documentary about the bottom of the ocean. In those moments, your brain tingles with excitement. This is because humans are naturally built to solve mysteries. We are born as little scientists who ask why until our parents are exhausted. Somewhere along the way, many of us lose that energy because we become obsessed with being right. There is a hidden assumption in our culture that says learning is a straight line. We think we start at 0 and we go to 100 and then we are finished. We think that once we have a degree or a good job, we should stop asking simple questions. We assume that admitting we are confused is a sign of weakness. But this is a mistake. The smartest people in history were not the ones who knew everything. They were the ones who were most obsessed with what they did not know. They were the ones who looked at a problem and felt invited by the mystery rather than scared by it. When we admit we do not know something, we are actually opening a door. We are inviting other people to come and explore with us. This is a structural pattern of shared discovery. When one person is brave enough to say they are curious, it gives everyone else permission to be curious too. It turns a lonely search for answers into a community experience. This is why some of the most popular stories in the world are mysteries. We love the feeling of piecing things together. We love the feeling of progress. If we can shift our perspective, we can see that science and history are not just for experts in white coats. They are human stories about people who refuse to stop asking why. Think about a geologist who spends decades studying the origins of life. He could have retired and stayed home, but he chose to keep testing his ideas. He found out that a simple change in a container could change our entire understanding of how life began on Earth. This kind of research is not just data on a page. It is an adventure. It is a story about how our world was built. When we share these stories, we are not just teaching facts. We are spreading an infection of wonder. We are helping people see that the world is much bigger and more interesting than their daily routine. This applies to our everyday lives in very practical ways. Think about how you talk to your friends or your partner. Do you spend your time trying to prove you are right, or do you ask questions to understand them better? When we bring the energy of curiosity to our relationships, they become much richer. Instead of having the same old arguments, we can start to explore the mysteries of each other. We can look at our own bodies with the same sense of wonder. For a long time, women felt physical sensations during pregnancy that science could not explain. But recently scientists actually saw what was happening in real time and they validated what those women had been feeling for centuries. Science finally caught up to human experience. This shows that there is so much left to learn about ourselves if we are willing to look closely. We can apply this to our hobbies too. Maybe you want to learn how to bake bread or how to fix a car. Instead of being frustrated that you are not an expert on day one, you can enjoy the process of being a beginner. You can celebrate the mistakes because each mistake is a clue that leads you closer to the truth. We should all find our own version of a mystery that lights us up inside. It does not have to be something big like ancient pyramids or quantum physics. It can be something small in your own backyard or something you noticed at work. The point is to let yourself be obsessed with the things you do not understand. Let yourself be the person who asks 20 questions. This is how we stay young at heart and how we keep our brains active. It is how we bridge the gap between different groups of people. Curiosity is a language that everyone speaks. It does not matter where you come from or what you believe. If we are both curious about the same thing, we have a connection. We are moving away from a time of hot takes and toward a time of deep learning. We are realizing that information is everywhere, but true understanding comes from wonder. We should not be afraid of the things we do not know. We should be excited by them. Every mystery is an invitation to grow. Every unanswered question is a chance to meet someone new who might have a piece of the puzzle. We are all researchers in the great experiment of life. We are all trying to figure out how we got here and where we are going. By staying unapologetically curious, we make the world a more welcoming and exciting place for everyone. We turn the act of learning into a lifelong celebration. We should remember that even the most famous scientists started with a simple question that they could not answer. They were not afraid to look silly or to be wrong. They just wanted to know the truth. We can all choose to live with that same spirit. We can choose to be the person who stops and says, "Wait, how does that work?" We can choose to be the person who nerds out over a random fact at a dinner party. This is what makes us human. This is what keeps our society moving forward. It is the fuel that drives every great invention and every great work of art. Without curiosity, we are just repeating the past. With it, we are creating the future. So let us embrace the confusion and the tingling in our brains when we see something new. Let us be proud of the things we have yet to learn. It is a beautiful and endless loop of discovery that never has to stop. We can find magic in a piece of glass or a simple loaf of bread if we look with the right eyes. The world is full of glass brains and ancient secrets and hidden cities just waiting for us to notice them. All we have to do is be brave enough to admit that we are still looking for the answers. If you could give yourself permission to be completely confused about one thing today, what mystery would you choose to explore first?